items not already on the agenda? Is that one we want to talk about, these dump trucks?
I'll do that. Is that okay?
Good. All right, we're moving on to 5A, discussion regarding snow removal ordinance.
I did pull the ordinance and sent it to you guys in an email, and also it's in your packet, just so we all know. We talked about this a little bit at the last meeting, but we didn't have the ordinance in front of us. So if you'll look on chapter 69, 6911, number 2, it does say that parking on snow routes is prohibited from the time the snow ordinance goes into effect until the snow removal operations have been completed for the entire width of said streets. So what we discussed that we would like to see happen, it seems like it already is in our ordinance, but I put it on the agenda anyway just for further discussion to see if there was anything else that we wanted to talk about. We were talking mainly last meeting, the downtown area. The cars didn't get moved on the last snowfall, and we had a hard time doing the streets, so we were just asking people to be a little more conscious of those vehicles. So we got on a discussion about the ordinance, so that's why I sent that out. So
if we put a snow or emergency into effect at noon, is that saying that no one can park there from noon on? I mean, that's the way it reads.
If it starts at noon, then they can't park in there until both sides of the streets have been cleared.
I don't like that. Well, the only reason being is because that leaves it open to everybody's interpretation of when those streets have been plowed and cleared, and you could run into a problem with that. And I think it might sound better something like that it's in effect for 12 hours or 24 hours or something like that after the snow emergency has been issued. Because the reason I say that is if it's like 12 hours, let's just say. So Rick issues a snow emergency at noon, it goes to midnight or whatever. If it's still snowing and he has to issue another one, then he can reissue another snow emergency. But if we don't somehow put some type of...
The city downtown.
Well, no, I
down for
don't.
12
I
hours.
don't. But I don't know how to, I don't know what you would do. It needs to, I think, have a start and an end. But I don't know how you do that. I mean, I don't know what the best way to do that is.
Well, the majority of the time, they're plowing the downtown blocks between hours of 4 and 6 in the morning. They're trying to, if they can, unless it's snowing at that time. But it's just, if we put the snow emergency in effect at noon until midnight, then if they get the streets cleared at 1, then
There's still no parking.
there's still no parking clear till midnight, so it's...
So what happens if it's still snow, like what happens if you put the snow emergency in effect, they go out at 6 and they do it and get everything cleared and somebody parks there and then it just starts snowing like crazy again and they have to replow again?
A separate snow emergency event?
We usually don't do a separate one, but
I mean, do you have a suggestion, Rick? Do you know what any
No,
other
usually
towns do?
we got a list of what they're supposed to do first, and it's East and West Main Street, and they cleared it off. But we always just try to use a little sense meetings of business and stuff, and we just let them go back there. But as far as if they needed to do that, what we did in the past is we just go up and knock on the door and ask them to move the car, or we move it for them. You know, try to work with people.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
think the issues that we had this last 2 snowfalls was not during the day. It was the cars that were parked there overnight. And they didn't get up and move them the next morning for us to plow.
And so that's what I was just gonna ask. I mean, do you guys see a lot of problems with this? I mean, or was it just those 2 snows that kind of?
This year was probably the worst problem we've had with it,
For the downtown.
for the downtown, yeah.
Well, we only issued a snow emergency once,
Twice, right.
and we got hit like 3 or 4 times, and that's what happened, because our cars were parked there when there wasn't a snow emergency. And they were still parked there. And, I mean, they shouldn't be parking there anyway, because they should park there between 2 to 5. So, I mean, that's on Main Street. And I know for a fact they're parking out back now.
Yeah, we did, our police department did issue some tickets, so I think the people that had been doing it know now that they can't do it even when it's not snowing. So I think the problem might solve itself just by giving out a few tickets. But I just think the businesses downtown might get upset if we set a time for 12
Yeah.
hours.
Well, and you wouldn't use,
Yeah, that
I'm just
can't work.
saying, I'm just saying, like, you know, I don't know what the good solution is,
And we
but,
never know when it's gonna, I mean, even though we set one for 5 o'clock at night until noon the next day, we never know if it's gonna snow between 5 and 6 or 7 in the morning, or, it's hard. So leaving it like this, at least it leaves it up to interpretation that both sides of the street haven't been plowed yet, so you need to keep them off of there until we do. But, I mean, and the police department's been very good too, at also going to knock on the doors of businesses when the guys are coming through, can you move your car to this side of the street or something like that, so. It's, like I said, the main problem is just the ones that were staying there overnight, even when it wasn't snowing.
I mean, if you guys don't have a problem with it the way that it is, I mean, it's whatever.
And we even, sometimes when they pick up the piles and stuff, we've done snow emergency for that too. In the past, we have.
Travis, anything that you would do differently?
No, I think it's just if we just enforce the parking signs that are up there, that will be fine.
The overnight.
The
Yeah,
overnight?
Yeah, I think that'll take care of it too. I mean, just,
And I
And
think,
they have been.
I think it already has.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
we can
just-
just drop this subject and
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah, no, and that's, yeah, I don't want to disturb any business time. I mean, that's the whole point of us coming in early and trying to do it between those hours, just so the business can still operate when they need to. So,
All right. 5B, approval of pay estimate final for Washington Street intersection improvement to water main. This is out there by the cemetery.
Cemetery road, yep. Any comments, Dave?
This pay estimate is just releasing retainage on the project. We don't pay out the bulk of it. It's just a required about 5%. Want to make sure there are any issues on it. There is a little bit of a cleanup item, but since Eastern Iowa's coming right after that to tear out the pavement, it's want to get my stuff in now. So rather than having it come in and pull off and try to do seeding, I'm just going to take care of another project.
Who's in charge of the seating?
The contractor that's going to do the pavement repairs on the intersection, which will be done this spring.
Need a motion for that payment? First by John, second Travis. All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Got to do a roll call, right?
No, it's not a resolution.
All right.
6A, discussion and possible second reading of ordinance 01-1.
Oh, it should be. Oh, I'm dyslexic.
All right.
012018.
20118.
I had all the numbers there, just not in the right order.
20118.
2 meetings in a row.
Move to approve the second reading.
Moved by Nate, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Stephanie. Travis?
Aye.
Nate?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Aye. 6B, discussion and possible second reading of ordinance 02-2018 sewer rate increase. Is that right?
Yep.
Move to approve the second reading.
First by Nate, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Stephanie. John?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
Nate?
Aye.
Travis?
Aye.
John? Aye. 6C, resolution 10-2018 appointing to the Board of Adjustments, Planning, Zoning, and Historical Preservation.
I did set the resolution in front of you for tonight. We did not have anybody come forward. I thought there was one person that was going to come forward to the Board of Adjustment, but I did not get his application in. So it would be just the appointing of Michelle Platt to Historical Preservation and Jason Waters to Planning and Zoning.
I'll move to approve.
Moved by Travis,
I'll second.
second by Nate. Travis?
Aye.
Nate?
Aye.
Stephanie?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
John? Aye. All right. 7, new business. Discussion on ordinance 165.18 Highway Commercial District.
We had this issue come up on the Board of Adjustment meeting, And we talked at that meeting and decided to bring it before the council, not for any decisions tonight, but just for discussion. The property is on the corner of Washington and Highway 30, owned by Tom Light, and it is in the C2 district. That gas station was built prior to the current zoning ordinance, and he did want to add a building or add on to his existing building. But any property in the C2 district that abuts a residential or ag land has to meet the residential setbacks instead of the commercial setbacks. So we did a little talking at the meeting, and I think we've come to a conclusion for Tom to help him do what he wants to do. But we thought we'd take a look at this, especially since, the bypass will be coming through, and this is property that we'll be taking over Highway 30 in the next couple of years. But I told them that I would bring it to your attention just to see if it's something you guys wanted to look at in the future. Maybe since we only have Tom's property and maybe one other one that actually cannot meet the setbacks because it abuts to residential, that maybe it's something we would like to take a look at to do a change in the ordinance to allow, I think, because Casey's already has the setback, and the rest of the properties don't have residential right behind them. So he would need, I think, 30 feet. From behind his building to that property line, he would need 30 feet. Right now he has, right now he has 9. So it's just like allowing him to build up to where his building already is or something like that. But it would take a whole ordinance change in order to allow him to do that. I think we worked it to where he would have enough room to add an accessory building because the setbacks are not as high for an accessory building. But it's just something that I wanted to bring to your attention to see if it's something that you guys wanted to look into the future. Like I said, it doesn't affect that many that many properties on Highway 30 because most of them either already meet the setbacks or they don't have residential right behind them. I know because Brett Rickards, when he added a building, he was in the same situation because residential was behind. I think Whitey's building has residential behind, but I think they've all met the 30-foot setback. But this property, because of the way it was built years ago, could not meet those setbacks, no way. So, but because it's really not a hardship under the Iowa code, Board of Adjustment did not allow him a variance. So we just thought we'd bring it before you guys, see if you wanted to pursue it or if you wanted to leave it as it is right now and look at it down the road.
And, if we allow an accessory building to have a 15-foot setback, why wouldn't we, if it's attached? I don't see the difference.
I don't see the difference either. It's, if you say, I'm not saying how to vote or anything, but if you say no to this, you're just throwing the business away. Instead of just allowing it, and he's building basically onto the building he already has.
Yeah.
Right, not increasing,
He ain't gonna go right to the lot line. Right?
yeah, not decreasing the setback, just maintaining it for what he wants to add on to it. But yeah, it does turn into a complete code change.
Which we probably should do now so he can benefit from it since he's really the only one affected by it.
He would be. The only thing is
We is for now.
if we did change the ordinance and take that out of there, if like in the future Casey's wanted to add on to the back of their building, we would have to allow them to do that also into that setback. It just depends on what, I think the accessory building, I think it's 15 feet, so.
So you went to the Board of Adjustments and it was declared a hardship where?
They did not grant it the variance.
It's got to be.
It's a non-conforming use and you can't add to a non-conforming use. So, you guys like me to put this on the next agenda for?
I wish the verbiage could read that, that the minimum setback observes residential restrictions except in a situation where a pre-existing building already has a minimum, has less than that minimum setback.
And they couldn't exceed what they.
But they could not exceed what they currently have
Okay.
in that direction. I don't know if you can write the verbiage like that, but I think that would accommodate this, and it would also prevent encroachment future encroachment.
Yeah, in that case, you wouldn't be able to go back further,
Right.
because they're already, where they're at right now.
Yeah, it's 30 for them, and they can go sideways until they hit the side yard setback, but not further back.
Unless they were at 35 now, they could add 5.
Yeah,
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
but if, you know, we've got a pre-existing building that is just gonna get added to allow the 9. I'm not sure if that's legal, but
I can check with Mark on that
I'd like
just to
to,
see.
yeah. That's what I would recommend, is that we don't change the rules, but allow for this exception. And then that might allow Board of Adjustment, if, well, they wouldn't even have to necessarily look at it, I guess, but,
Not if the code allows it, they wouldn't have to.
right.
Yeah.
They only look at it if the building permit was denied. So, all right, I'll look into that.
Thank you.
Correspondence?
The only correspondence I had was Community Development Group is having their hometown teams presentation or exhibit, and it's going to run from March 18th to April 29th, and I have a flyer, there's flyers posted uptown. They're also having a donor reception and preview, so if you're one of those people that helped with donations or helped with the process, you can go to this at Friday, March 16th from 6:30 to 8. So like I said, I have a flyer here if you're interested, and there's flyers posted on the bulletin board and all around town.
Reports, city engineer?
Just a few things to report on. We are working with the wastewater plant. They've set one of the basins, and they've been excavating to the second basin, moving along pretty well down there. Received a letter or email this afternoon. The grant administrator for the CDBG grant, they have given us permission to move ahead. They have released funds, which means they did receive their funding, so we'll be able to use the CDBG funds for the sewer rehab. We'll get started next meeting. I'll likely have a schedule for you so we can set the bid date, public hearing date, and try to get the plans and specs wrapped up so we can move forward with that project. And lastly, I indicated when I was up here earlier, Eastern Iowa Excavating should begin here this spring on getting that Washington Street and Cemetery Road intersection reconstructed. They have their staff laid off for the winter, as a lot of contractors do, but we get past this week and hopefully we don't see much snow. Yeah, we gear up and get started on that, so that's all I have.
Tile, I just know anytime. Public Works report?
The big thing I got on there is, did you get pictures of the other one?
You have no idea.
Okay, we've been on the hunt for a replacement dump truck. The Iowa DOT has a grant out right now for 25% funding for a new truck. It's an emissions grant. So what that is basically they'll give us the same truck that we have. It's not like we can add a wing or add a bunch of fancy bells and whistles that we don't have that they fund. So with that, there's pictures of these. Yep, there's pictures of the red truck. It's actually a Freightliner we're looking at. This one's an International. It's pretty much the same color scheme, minus a little hood shape difference. To do that, you're looking at $62,000 to outfit it. That's the box, the plow, sander, the controls, and the chassis is $75,000, which brings you to the $137,000. And then you take your 25% off of that, that's roughly $34,000, which gets you to that $110,000. I've been scouring govdeals.com, all the truck magazines and stuff. I found the best truck we found lately is a 2008. It's Peterbilt. The new truck would not have a wing on it because ours currently doesn't have a wing. It would be plumbed to it, but we'd have to spend an additional $15,000 down the line to put the wing on it. All the controls would be there. We just would have to pay for the wing and the installation. This 2008 Peterbilt, they want $55,000 for it. It has a wing, 24,000 miles. I haven't seen the truck. I've just ran the VIN numbers on it and checked the local repair shops on the engine and transmission to see if there's any major problems with those, and they haven't come up with anything. I just kind of want to know which direction you would like us to pursue. You want
Yeah, the brand new truck, the 25% that we could get from that grant would be about 34,000. We have almost 33,000 in our capital equipment fund right now, so we would still have a balance. So that would take care of 67,000 of it, so we would still have to borrow around $70,000 for it if we went the new truck route. The used truck at 55,000, we do, like I said, we have almost 33,000 in our fund, so we would have to come up with an additional 22,000 if we went that route. Travis was talking about the possibility of having them bring the truck to us, because right now it's in Wisconsin, and we could look it over, take it to somewhere, have it looked at, and go that route. So right now, we're just trying to get an idea of which direction you guys would like us to go through. We thought at one time the grant available was going to be 75%, but they already had the grant process before, and we weren't ready to go for the grant, but they just reopened it, and they've got like $200-some thousand available. So they're only giving 25%, and we have to come up with 75%. So we were hoping that the grant was going to be a little more closer to the 75%, but it's not. So that's why we started looking again. We had looked at a couple used ones before, but both of those fell through. So
Is the grant, kind of a for sure thing or no?
the one thing with the grant is that in order for us to get it, they want to eliminate all the trucks that are on, that give off too many emissions. So if we went with the new truck and took the grant, we would have to take our old dump truck completely out of service. So with buying a used one, we could still keep our old dump truck and keep that in service when we needed it. So that's one good thing about that. So, but like I said, with the grant, if you take the grant, you have to put that high emission vehicle totally out of service.
It would be my recommendation to take a look at the used truck.
Okay, with, just the other thing is our window for the grant's extremely short. So in the time frame that it will take them to get there, we're probably gonna miss out on this grant. So as long as everybody's understanding that, I'm 100% okay with taking a look at the used one. Don't think I want to do it. I just want to make sure that everybody knows if we get this thing and we're not comfortable with it, we'll still be on the hunt for a different truck at that point.
They
How
just
long
reopened
did
the
you
grants
find this
last
one?
Friday, and we have to have it in by March 9th, so it gave us a small window to, what was that, Seth?
So we gotta
Okay, two
decide.
questions. Can you apply for the grant anyway?
No, you have to,
If you
You
get
have
the
to
grant,
purchase it.
if you get the grant, you gotta use it. You
Yep.
can't apply and say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't wanna use it now.
Well, why can't you?
Why not?
They force you, if you don't have the money.
That's some of the stipulations. I don't have it in front of me. They give you a little workbook for the grant.
Uh-huh.
You have to verify that you have the money and you are willing to actually have the truck on the ground and buy.
you have to have a purchase agreement for the
Yep.
truck, and then you have to actually
In
purchase
order
it
to
with
apply
the-
for the grant.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then how long were you looking before this one came up?
We've been looking for, what, 4 months now?
Yeah.
We've actually had 2 other ones that we looked at prior to you coming on council, and one was in Hiawatha and one was
Asbury.
Asbury. Yeah, unfortunately, they both fell through. We didn't get them.
Where at Wisconsin is this truck?
Almost by the border. It's Wasua, or I was by Green Bay and I was still 2 hours south of it Saturday. So I was
I just don't know if they're gonna drive it down here, knowing that we might say, screw you.
We don't know either, but
I mean, that's what they're in the business for, so.
they have a dealership in, or is it Cedar Rapids?
Yep.
So they were gonna bring it from one dealership to the
Oh.
other.
Yep, yep.
So they might do it. It's a big truck to drive all that way though.
I mean, I like it, with the side plow, because we're gonna have to, you're gonna use that sooner or later. But I mean, I also, with the new one, you could, put a side plow on that one too.
They could also send Travis on a road trip, but we would need some place to take it that could, check it out for us.
Well, you just have to research the places up there that would be.
Yeah, I mean, they could have their own repair shop, and it won't show up on anything. Their own repair shop. But for this one, if they have their own repair shop, they'll fix it in the shop, and it won't show up on it.
Right, but you just wanna take it to somebody so they can look it over and like have their opinion on whether there's anything
Yeah, like
bad.
one of the dealerships, I mean, one of the, not the dealerships.
When is this truck coming down to Cedar Rapids?
I don't know, we didn't pursue it because I didn't want to actually
Yeah.
ask them to bring it down if there was no interest in it. I mean, that's a pretty big expense on there.
I mean, I'm inclined to agree with Travis that it'd be better to look at the cheaper one. And that's a big difference.
Well,
You're talking about the brand's only 25,000
Right.
if you want that side plowed.
And that's, I mean, Connie and I just kind of wanted to get your consensus on the deal. When there's, federal money out there, we need to let it go. Like you guys say, we're gonna need more equipment than just this to maintain Highway 30.
Yeah, I hate to let the free money go too, but it is twice the investment for the city if we went with the new one.
Right.
So I'm with these two.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll take a look at this one, see what we can do, and if this one doesn't come through, we'll go keep looking.
Keep looking, okay?
Perfect. That's all I had. Thank you.
Police chief report?
We're working with the school on some active shooter stuff. We're gonna do some stuff after spring break with them. And just on that part, it's just something that you guys need to think about, especially in here. You get somebody that's not in the right stable mind and come in and just,
Right there.
you know where you're gonna go? Does anybody know what the plan is?
I do.
Where to go?
I'm going with that.
I'm gonna hide.
That's why we got you here.
They're the two biggest ones.
No, I mean, seriously, I mean,
That's why that door was made.
You can get out
It's
of
out back. We just gotta remember to keep it clean
Thanks for that.
and stuff. And you never know, that thing might not happen.
It has happened at council.
So,
I still think we should have some type of situation for the staff.
training or something? Yeah, I mean, I
Because
can-
Christina's office and my office, we have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
I mean, there's actually nowhere to go if something would happen. So I think it's something that Ricky should work with the staff and try to have some type of training for us.
That's why I don't have that office
And he said that on camera.
no
Well, I have the bulletproof window, so they can't shoot me up here, but they can shoot the heck out of me down below.
And we've had people come in and scream and holler at people, so, I mean, you just don't know in this day and age. Also, I thank John and Nate for attending our shooting simulator in the county last time.
How did that go? I had a funeral, so I could go with.
Good, went really well. Use a perspective of what to look for.
Do you just do those once a year?
We do, but we do firearms training twice a year. This one did, we have to shoot on bullets or nothing. It's all in the machine. That's all I got. Thank you guys for coming.
all right, city administrator's report?
I really don't have anything other than what was on the agenda today.
Mayor's report. If you don't know, right now, the mayor is out in the rehab center here in Lisbon. She went in Tuesday to the hospital, and they kept her Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And as a family, we kind of decided to get her into the nursing home for some rehabilitation. She's doing good. She, hopefully a couple weeks she'll be in there and she'll be back to being her own herself again. Council report, Travis?
I have nothing.
Nate?
As Chief Scott mentioned, I participated in the FATS training along with John at Kaplan University, and it was a very eye-opening experience. Thank you, Rick, for letting me be a part of that. It really brings a lot of respect. to what officers go through and have to face every day and the choices they've got to make in split seconds. And I went through the same simulations that they did, and it really taught me how bad of a shot I am, number one. How poor of choices I make because I don't have the training that these guys do, and how good their training is because they do make good choices. So it was a very, very good experience, and yeah, I just, the newfound respect for our local law enforcement. All three of our police officers went through it, and I witnessed their professionalism and training. It was really good. And then lastly, just congratulations to the wrestlers and the team for their success at state wrestling. That's it. Thank you.
Stephanie?
I just wanted to remind everybody for the spring soccer sign-up, deadline is Friday. So if you haven't signed up your little ones yet, it's time.
John?
Southeast Lane Kitchen is almost done. They have new cabinets in there. They're doing some repainting, and they're waiting for the countertops to go in now. And thanks, Rick, for inviting us for that training. It was very good. I enjoyed it. That's all I have.
I want to know, did you guys shoot any innocents?
No, I did not shoot an innocent, but I rolled the dice. There was one situation where there was a plainclothes cop fighting with a gun with another guy, and I chose the right guy and shot him. But my partner got shot 3 times, I think, and an innocent got shot before I could react. So it's an eye-opening experience.
The kid one was the worst, wasn't it?
That was terrible. I just stood there frozen, and luckily the officer running the simulator went easy on me. And the little girl put the gun down, and everything ended nicely. But I saw 4 other scenarios with the same exact situation, or actually 5, with John and the member of the paper and all 3 of our officers. And it can all go very, very differently. And it's just split-second choices have to be made. Our police consistently made the right choice in that scenario. So very, very cool.
All I got is, wanted to congratulate the Lisbon wrestling team. A good season. Basketball team had a good season. They were 1 game away from winning state. And finally, just wanted to wish Connie happy 40th birthday.
21, you told me.
Anybody else got anything?
Nope.
We need to adjourn.